From Pacifica, this is Democracy Now! Is the public option dead? The Obama administration signaled it's on the verge of abandoning plans to create a government-funded insurance option as part of health care reform. We'll speak with a Business Week reporter who says the health insurers have already won. Then white flag deaths, the killings of Palestinian civilians during Operation Cast Lead. Human Rights Watch says Israel committed possible war crimes in its assault on Gaza. And ahead of this week's elections in Afghanistan, we look at a new film that tells the story of Ashmal Naqshbani, an Afghan translator who worked for foreign reporters.
I said, look, Ajmal, suppose if we were kidnapped by Taliban, so what will we do? He said, Taliban kidnapped us, they would not harm us because when they kidnap, they would just, if they do so, they would harm the journalists, the foreigners.
He was wrong. The Afghan translator was killed. We'll speak with the reporter he worked with, American journalist Christian Parenti, and the director of the HBO film. All that and more coming up. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The Obama administration signaled Sunday it's on the verge of abandoning plans to create a government-run insurance option as part of its program to reform the nation's healthcare system. The move away from a public option is seen as a major victory for the health insurance industry. In an interview on CNN, Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius said a public option is not the essential element of healthcare overhaul.
I think the president is just continuing to say, let's not have this be the only focus of the conversation. Coverage for all Americans, lowering the crushing costs for everyone, making sure that we have new rules for insurance companies, that they can't dump people out of the marketplace if you get sick, that they can't drop your coverage based on a pre-existing condition, that you can't be priced out because you're a woman instead of a man, and gender discrimination won't be allowed to continue anymore. Those are really essential parts of the new program, along with choice and competition, which I think we'll have at the end of the day.
HHS Secretary Sebelius' comment came one day after President Obama held a health care forum in Colorado that said the public option, rather we have it or we don't have it, is not the entirety of health care reform. Instead of a public insurance option, the Obama administration suggested it'll back the formation of private sector options such as insurance exchanges or cooperatives. Analysts say it is unlikely the co-ops would bring health care prices down as significantly as the government could. In other healthcare news, the Center for Responsive Politics reports federal lawmakers collected about $15.3 million in donations from the health sector between April and June. Pharmaceutical and health insurance companies increased their contributions by 8%, while health professionals and hospitals maintained their rate of donations. A top official in Honduras's ousted government claims there was direct U.S. involvement in the coup that deposed Manuel Zelaya. Patricia Valle, who served as Zelaya's deputy foreign minister, said the plane that flew Zelaya into exile stopped at Sotocano, a Honduran military base that's home to at least 500 U.S. troops. The Pentagon hasn't denied the plane landed at Sotocano. A Pentagon spokesperson said the troops in Honduras, quote, had no knowledge or part in the decisions made for the plane to land, refuel, and take off. It's unclear why the plane would refuel at the base, since it's just 60 miles from the capital, Tegucigalpa. On Sunday, Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez criticized President Obama's handling of the coup in Honduras and said the new U.S. president is lost in space when it comes to dealing with Latin America.
Porque creo que anda perdido en la nebulosa de Andrómeda el presidente Obama. Anda perdido.
I think he is lost in the galaxy of Andromeda. President Obama, he is lost. He can't see the horizon. He doesn't understand. I believe that Obama is entering a terrible labyrinth.
Él está confundido. No le estamos pidiendo que intervenga en Honduras.
To give him the benefit of the doubt, he is confused. We are not asking you to intervene in Honduras, Obama. On the contrary, we are asking that the empire get its hands off Honduras and get its claws out of Latin America.
One of India's biggest movie stars, Shah Rukh Khan, was detained and questioned by immigration officials Friday at Newark Liberty International Airport. Khan is known as the king of Bollywood in India. The actor was in the U.S. to promote a new film, My Name is Khan, which is about racial profiling of Muslims after the September 11th attacks. Khan was held for 66 minutes. He was released after Indian consular officials vouched for him. The story's been front-page news in India for days. On Sunday, angry fans burned a U.S. flag in protest. India's Federal Information Minister suggested India should adopt a similar policy toward Americans traveling to India. One of Afghanistan's most feared warlords, General Abdul Rashid Dostum, has returned from exile in Turkey just days ahead of Afghanistan's presidential election. Dostum is one of several warlords who have become allies with the Afghan President Hamid Karzai. Karzai is hoping Dostum's return will help attract ethnic Uzbek voters on Election Day. Dostum used to be on the CIA payroll, and his militia worked closely with U.S. Special Forces. In 2001, he oversaw a massacre at Dasht-e-Leli that left at least 2,000 suspected Taliban POWs dead. Last month, New York Times reporter James Risen revealed the Bush administration blocked at least 3 federal investigations into the alleged war crimes committed by Dostum.
The evidence was overwhelming that something had happened and that it was the responsibility of the Bush administration to look into this, or at least to push for an international investigation, because Dostum had been on the CIA payroll, was part of a U.S.-backed alliance that was taking over Afghanistan. And what I found was time after time in different agencies and in the White House, Bush administration officials repeatedly ignored evidence or just decided or discouraged efforts to open investigations into the massacre.
In other news from Afghanistan, a new law has gone into effect that allows a husband to starve his wife if she refuses to have sex. The law also prohibits women from working without their husband's permission. Critics of the bill have accused President Karzai of selling out Afghan women for the sake of support from conservative Shiites in this week's election. The bill also grants guardianship of children exclusively to their fathers and grandfathers, and it effectively allows a rapist to avoid prosecution by paying blood money to a girl who was injured when he raped her. A new report from Human Rights Watch has found Iraqi militias are carrying out a spreading campaign of torture and murder against men suspected of homosexual conduct. Hundreds of gay Iraqis have been tortured and killed in recent months, and Iraq authorities have done nothing to stop the killings. Some people told Human Rights Watch that Iraqi security forces have colluded and joined in the killing. This is Rasha Mumne of Human Rights Watch.
What we found in Iraq was disturbing. We heard stories of murder, extrajudicial executions, brutal torture, abductions, extortions, beatings, and threats. The target of this killing campaign, which was focused mainly in Baghdad but also spread to other cities in Iraq, was gay men and men who challenged social norms of masculinity. Signs which were interpreted as homosexuality, feminization, or westernization all exposed people to violence. We cannot accurately estimate the scope of this campaign. However, our conversations with human rights activists, UN workers, and doctors and hospitals have led us to believe that the killings may easily number in the hundreds.
Human Rights Watch released their report on violence against homosexuals in Iraq in Lebanon. Virginia Senator Jim Webb visited Burma over the weekend and secured the release of John Yetta, the American citizen who was arrested after swimming to the house of jailed pro-democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi. Webb is the chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee's East Asia and Pacific Affairs Subcommittee and a prominent critic of U.S. sanctions against Burma. He's the first member of Congress to visit Burma in more than a decade and is the first American official to ever meet with Burma's military junta. Webb also met for an hour with Aung San Suu Kyi and called for her release. The debate over health care in the United States is being closely watched around the world, especially in Britain, where the political and medical establishment have launched a spirited defense of the National Health Service in response to attacks on the system by conservative commentators in the United States. Britain's Business Secretary Lord Mandelson described the U.S. healthcare system as second-rate for patients who can't afford health insurance.
In championing the American system, they're championing good first-rate health care for those who can buy the insurance and a very poor and second-rate system